Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's second video, doing JMA Friday for today's second video. So, as it was on a Friday, we're having a look at the weather for the month ahead with the Japanese and CFS V2 models, and I shall get on with that for you very shortly. Just say about the first video was our 6 AM upload, and we've got a 10 to 14 day coming up for you shortly. That will include all other regular features, so please like, share, subscribe on videos, and thank you so very much for doing that. Right, well, we're going to start off with the week 1 500 millibar hydrometry from JMA from the Arctic and North Pole view down. So this is the North Pole just here, and then this is the wider Arctic circle there, and then we've got the mid-latitudes through there. Blue is extrapolating to below average heights, which is low pressure, yellow, orange, and red to above average heights, which is high pressure. These are broken down into week periods. The first week period will take us from the 7th today to the 14th of October. The coming week looks quite unsettled, with below average heights to the north and above average heights down to the south. That leads to us bringing in a westerly flow from off the Atlantic. And that westerly flow will bring in areas of low pressure, bands of wet weather, but there will be some dry weather too, particularly in the south close to that area of high pressure. Week 2 will be the 14th to the 21st of October. Size of a bit of a cold snap here, below average heights moving to our east-northeast, above average heights pulling out into the middle of the Atlantic. Sends the jet stream on a northwest-southeast alignment, and could bring in some colder air, certainly from the northwest, maybe even from the north. Still quite unsettled, perhaps even the first snowflakes of the season falling over parts of northern Scotland. And then weeks 3 and 4 will take us from the 21st of October to the 4th of November, with high pressure just to our west. Low pressure still to the north and slightly over Scandinavia, so maybe again bringing in like a northwesterly flow. It should be drier there, it's not as unsettled, higher pressure, more influential, so probably turning drier, but not all that warm. Temperatures probably a little bit on the low side, or certainly average, with more of a northwesterly flow. Notice high pressure getting going over here across the northern parts of Russia. So that will be one to keep an eye on in a few weeks' time, maybe. Right, let's have a look at tropical and mid-latitude view. So we can't see Greenland, Iceland, Scandinavia, Arctic, North Pole. All those areas are off the chart up here. But if I have a look at the map view down, we know what's going on. Again, we're in the top right-hand corner of the chart, as you're looking at UK and Ireland. And week 1, reminder of a week 1, 500 millibar high anomaly with high pressure to the south and plenty of low pressure up to the north, and in comes those westerly winds. The temperature anomaly is about average, no more than that, maybe slightly above, but you know, very close to average with the temperature anomaly in the weekend. This, of course, for the 7th to 14th of October, and quite unsettled as well, so slightly above average rainfall. Week 2 will show low pressure in from the north, and we know it's also sitting to our northeast as well, and high pressure pulled out into the Atlantic. Looks like we're bringing the wind from more of a northwesterly direction. We go cooler than average this week, colder than average in the middle of October, below average temperatures there, 14th, 21st of October, as it is over western parts of Europe as well. And the precipitation anomaly looks like that's a bit wetter than average up in the north, a little bit drier than average though down in the south. And then weeks 3 and 4 shows high pressure just to our west and southwest, bringing the wind from off the Atlantic. Should be drier, you would have thought, with that, although for Scotland it is still a little bit above average. But the rainfall for England and Wales relatively dry. Temperatures sort of going back closer to average, but certainly no sign of anything particularly warm coming up over the next 4 weeks. That is notable because over the past few weeks with these charts, we have been seeing a lot of this yellow, and sometimes, you know, back in the summer again, into the orange colours, which is really warm for these charts. There's no sign of that. That's all moving away from us by looking at it over the over the next month. So relatively cool, actually, for the rest of October after the warm opening that we've had to the month. Let's see how the CFSV2 compares. Again, these are 500 millibar height anomalies breaking down into week periods. The first week period is going to take us from the 7th to the 13th of October. The coming week looks like that. Below average heights to the north, above average heights to the south. So we've got agreement between the two models that we're bringing in from off the Atlantic and looking most unsettled up in the north. Got agreement for week 2 as well. This is the 14th to the 20th of October. High pressure end pulls out away from us into the middle of the Atlantic. Trough of low pressure digs in from the north. That sends trajectory southward, so going cooler with that and more unsettled as well in week 2. Week 3 is going to be the 23rd to 27th of October. Below average heights moving up towards Greenland, Iceland. Above average heights trying to form around Spain and Portugal. That's going to have a go to get wind back into west, but might still be a northwesterly component to that. So probably not quite as unsettled. But not as cool, but probably, still no better than average, really. And then for week 4, which is the 28th of October, the 3rd of November, again, high pressure around Spain. Probably some lower pressure coming in through there, a little bit like that. Notice also the CFS is going for that big area of high pressure to start getting going around northern parts of Russia. That could definitely be one to keep an eye on. If that does start setting up across northwestern Russia, that could be one to keep an eye on as we go into November. I won't say any more than that at the moment. Week 1 temperature anomalies from the 7th to 13th of October, about average. So cooler than we've had through the first week of October. Week 2 temperature anomaly from the 14th to the 20th of October. Again, close to average. Possibly hints at being a little bit below. If you come over here, there's some blue over sort of northern France and whatnot. So, I think that middle part of October could be quite cold. Week 3 will be the 23rd, 27th of October. Slight recovery to go a little bit above average then. And then week 4, which is the 28th of October, 3rd of November, also slightly above average by about half a degree or so. So not as excessively warm or hot as it has been over the past few months. All of the real warmth is being pushed away far to our east and also out into the Atlantic. And then finally precipitation for week 1, north-south split. So wetter average in the north, a little bit drier than average just to our south, near normal elsewhere. Week 2 is a wet week, so 14th, 20th of October, a wet and cold week to come there. I think. Week 3 is going to be the 23rd, 27th of October, near normal. Precipitation, we're losing a signal now the further out we're going. And then week 4, 28th of October, 3rd of November, again, near normal precipitation. We're beginning to lose a signal, though. I reckon that's still relatively unsettled. So I think it could be shaping up for quite a wettish October here now, actually. We could be looking at quite an unsettled October and not especially warm. Although the first week has been very mild, I think we're going to see the temperature coming down. The middle part of October looking quite cold. And then there's no sign of anything particularly excessively warm into the second half of October either. So quite a cool and unsettled October with JMA Friday today. Maybe just a snapshot of what these models are showing. They could look completely different when we look at them again next week. But that's it for JMA Friday for this week. We'll be back later on with your 10 to 14 day. That's going to include all of the features. So I shall see you then for that one. But for JMA Friday this week, that's all for now. And thanks for watching.